Hello, my dear friends. Let me guide you to a magical place, far away from all hardships and struggles. Close your eyes and open your imagination. Chapter 1. A magical journey begins. It was an ordinary afternoon when everything changed. You were sprawled out on your bed with the window wide open. It was a sunny day. You could hear the birds chirping while flipping through a well-worn book. Named Inexplicable Mysteries Throughout History, the book was full of stories. Some from hundreds of years ago, but also some more recent ones. The first stories went back as far as the times of King Arthur, and the last story in the book was about the collapse of Millennium Bridge 28 years ago. You became very interested in the unknown last July, which is now a bit more than a year ago. It all happened when you went and visited your nephew Josh. You hadn't seen him all year since he started attending a boarding school. But on that day, some weird things happened. You were playing a game of tag with Josh and his little sister Eva. While you were running after Eva, she stumbled over a loose rock and scraped her knees. Josh ran to the sound of his crying sister and got mad at you because he thought you tripped her on purpose, and before you knew, you lay flat on your back, not knowing how you got there. You couldn't even remember Josh coming close enough to shove you over. A moment later, Josh's mom ran outside and told him to come back in. She didn't look very happy and scolded Josh for pushing you over. You followed them into the kitchen, but when you tried to take a seat at the table, you suddenly lay flat on your back again. You could have sworn the chair just moved by its own. It was almost 2 feet to your left now. At that moment, Josh's mom took him by his ear and dragged him out of the kitchen. Not really comprehending what just went down, your curiousness took over. You stood up and put your ear to the door. You know you can't use your magic outside of school grounds. If you use your magic to bully others, maybe it's better we keep you away from there. But Mom, I didn't do it on purpose. It just happened. You couldn't hear the full conversation clearly, but were very intrigued by the parts you did hear. That night, it was the only thing you could think about. At first, you thought you must have misheard them, but that didn't explain how the chair moved, or how Josh could shove you over without coming near. So the first thing you did in the morning was hurry to your local library in search of books that could hold a clue to prove magic is real. One of those books was Inexplicable Mysteries Throughout History. You read it so many times it almost fell apart, and you must have a pretty hefty fee at the library, since you have the book for more than a year already. But forget about the book, you thought a bit nervous. Tomorrow you would visit your nephew Josh again, and were determined to fish for some more information. You slammed the book shut and were just about to go downstairs when suddenly A big brown owl flew gracefully through your window and landed on your desk. You jolted up and jumped out your bed. The owl just stared at you calmly, with an envelope clutched in its beak. The envelope was thick and cream-colored, sealed with a deep red wax stamp bearing an intricate crest. Curiously, you leaned over to take a peek. It said, Hogwarts School for Witchcraft and Wizardry. With trembling fingers, you took the envelope out of its beak, broke the seal, and unfolded the letter. Dear future student, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Term begins on September the 1st. Enclosed, you will find a list of required books and equipment. Yours sincerely, Phileas Flitwick, Deputy Headmaster. You read it again, your mind racing with disbelief and excitement. Hogwarts? You could hardly believe it. The conversation you had overheard was true. You were going to be a wizard. Quickly you ran downstairs, handed the letter to your mom, and started blasting out the story of what happened at Josh's place last summer. You exchanged incredulous glances, the kind that spoke volumes without saying a word. Your mother laid down the letter, her hands trembling slightly as she processed the information. A wizard? Hogwarts? Are you sure this isn't some sort of prank? You nodded emphatically. It's real. Look at the seal. And I heard him talk about magic. This is my chance to learn everything I've been curious about. Your father, still skeptical, raised an eyebrow. Magic, huh? You know how to handle your chores without spells, right? You rolled your eyes, but a smile tugged at your lips. That's not the point. I've been researching this stuff for over a year. This is my opportunity to explore it for real. Your parents exchanged a knowing look again, and your mom finally said, "We will ask Auntie when we visit them tomorrow." That evening, you sat at the kitchen table. The letter spread out before you like a treasure map. The required list of books and equipment lay alongside it, filled with titles that made your heart race with anticipation. You flipped through the parchment, your eyes widening at the mention of wands and poison ingredients. This was it. A whole new world awaited. The following morning, you could hardly contain your excitement as you and your parents made your way to Aunt Clara's house. The car ride felt eternal, your mind racing with visions of enchanted classrooms and magical creatures. You bounced your leg nervously, gripping the letter tightly in your hand. As you entered Aunt Clara's cozy home, the familiar scent of freshly baked cookies wafted through the air, momentarily distracting you from your swirling thoughts. After a quick hug and some cheerful chatter, your mom finally brought up the letter. "Auntie Clara, look what we got." She thrust the envelope toward her. Your heart is pounding. She took the letter with a curious smile, examining it carefully. Her eyes widened slightly when she saw the crest. "This is remarkable. I didn't even entertain the thought Josh wouldn't be the only one in the family." You couldn't help but beam with pride. Now you are sure it is real. Aunt Clara's expression softened. "Magic is often closer than we think, dear." Your mother chimed in. "We want to know if it's safe. Can you give us some more insight?" Aunt Clara nodded thoughtfully. "Hogwarts is a revered institution. It's safe, provided you follow the rules and respect the magic, that is. But the world of wizards can be unpredictable, and you must be ready for surprises." "Surprises?" Your stomach fluttered with both excitement and nerves. "Let's just say Hogwarts has its quirks," Aunt Clara chuckled. "It's not just classes and spells. There's a whole culture, a community of wizards. You'll meet interesting people, some friendly, some not so much." Your father, still a bit skeptical, leaned in. "What about their education?" "Wizards study everything from potion making to flying on broomsticks," Aunt Clara replied. "The experiences are as important as the lessons. Wait, I bought an extra book of a history of Hogwarts. You can have it if you want." You couldn't help but be drawn in by her enthusiasm. "What do I need to do to prepare?" Aunt Clara smiled. "Well, you'll need your supplies, of course. Let's take a look at that list." She laid it out on the kitchen table, her eyes sparkling with excitement. As you all leaned in, you began to read the required items aloud. A wand, cauldron, all kinds of spell books, all sorts of potion ingredients, and if you want, a pet. "A pet?" Your mother raised an eyebrow. "Some wizards have owls, others have cats, rats or toads. They can be quite helpful." Aunt Clara grinned. "However, you can't take measles, because they are too big, which could form a problem if too many students bring one. Or crops, because they require too much attention and can be quite mischievous." You didn't even know what measles or grubs were, but couldn't wait to find out. "Where do you even find all those kinds of things?" your mom asked, flustered. Aunt Clara laughed, her eyes twinkling with amusement. "Ah, that's the fun part. You'll be visiting Diagon Alley, a hidden marketplace where all your magical needs can be met. It's right under your nose in London, but you'll need to know how to get there." Your heart raced at the thought of a secret world bustling with magic. "How do we get to Diagon Alley?" you asked eagerly. "Well," Aunt Clara said, leaning closer, as if sharing a great secret. You'll need to go to the Leaky Cauldron. It's a pub for wizards, and from there you can access Diagon Alley through a hidden entrance. Can we go today? You blurted out, barely able to contain your excitement. Your mom exchanged another glance with Aunt Clara. Let's take a moment to gather our thoughts, she said, her tone more thoughtful now. This is a big step. Trust me, you will want to see it before school starts, Aunt Clara said, her enthusiasm palpable. We need to go back ourselves. Josh needs some new robes since he had a big growth spurt, and he has to get some books for the new school year too. Normally we would go on Friday, but I'm positive Josh wouldn't mind if we go a couple of days sooner. Why don't we go tomorrow and make a day out of it? I can drive you to the city and we can explore together. You could hardly contain your glee. Yes, please. Josh will be back home in a minute. I'm sure he will be excited to know you will be accompanying him to Hogwarts this year. Aunt Clara's words hung in the air, wrapping around you like a warm blanket. Just then, the door swung open, and in walked Josh, his face lighting up with a grin that quickly faded into confusion when he saw you sitting at the kitchen table with your parents and Aunt Clara. Hey, what's going on? He asked, tossing his backpack aside. Guess what? Aunt Clara said cheerfully, holding up the letter. Your cousin is going to Hogwarts too? Josh's eyes widened, and a mix of disbelief washed over him. Wait, really? You got a letter? He turned to you, his expression shifting from surprise to insecurity. You shrugged, trying to play it cool. I can't wait to go to Diagon Alley with you tomorrow. What? Josh exclaimed. But I'm going Friday. I made plans with my friends. I'm not going with you. Aunt Clara frowned lightly. We might be able to make an exception and go a bit earlier. I think it's a great opportunity for the both of you. Josh crossed his arms. But I promised I'd be there. They're going to think I'm ditching them. Before Aunt Clara could respond, your mom raised a hand, a thoughtful look crossing her face. We can wait till Friday. It could be a fun outing. You can introduce your cousin to your friends, and then you can all explore Diagon Alley together. Josh didn't seem to like the idea. A grimace was spreading across his face. We are third years now. They don't want to hang around with a first year. That doesn't matter, Aunt Clara interjected firmly. You will go to Diagon Alley together, whether you like it or not. Besides, this is a special moment for your cousin. It's not every day someone gets their letter to Hogwarts. Josh sighed dramatically, but then looked at you. A flicker of understanding mingling with annoyance, he said. Fine, but if they make fun of you, I'm not responsible. You couldn't help but grin at his half-hearted protest. The thought of exploring Diagon Alley with Josh, even if he was a bit reluctant, made your heart flutter. Now, let's focus on what we need to do next, Aunt Clara said, clapping her hands together. You'll want to read through the list again? and start making a plan. We need to make sure we have everything ready for the big day. As the conversation flowed, you felt a warmth spread through you, knowing that this was just the beginning. With every word spoken about Hogwarts, the adventures that awaited, and the magic that was now yours to discover, you felt a sense of belonging you had never known before. The ordinary afternoon had turned extraordinary, and you couldn't wait for Friday's journey into the magical unknown.